Then I said I would not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in my heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. And I was weary with forbearing and could not stay. Everyone say fire. How many of you have ever heard of the Yosemite National Park? Raise your hand. Back then they used to do a special thing where they would do what they would call the firefall burning. Has anyone ever heard of that? It's pretty amazing. What they would do is, they don't do it the same way now, but what they would do back then is they would have the old trees that would fell within the forest, and they would chop them up into pieces, and they would actually set them on fire on top of the granite mountaintops. They would burn them, and then they would have bulldozers behind the burning trees. And down at the bottom of the mountains would be thousands of spectators. And they would look up and they would say, "Let the fire fall." And these bulldozers would push those burning timbers over the top of the mountain, and they would begin to flip and fall down off the mountain. And all you would see, if you have that picture for me, this is an example, all you would see is literally just fire falling from the top of the mountain down into the bottom. Right? Absolutely beautiful. You see in 2 Kings 1, verse 10 through 12, Elijah, the king of Samaria, was sending 50 people. And it says here, Elijah answered and said to the captain of the 50, "If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And believe it or not, he sent another 50. And Elijah had enough boldness and courage that he prayed again. And God sent down fire. And then he sent a third one. But that messenger was smart, because he knew, ain't no way. I can't fight this God. And he bowed and he asked for forgiveness. Here's the thing, is we have to get a boldness within us and courage within us to say, "God, I'm tired of being cold or warm or lukewarm, but yet I want you to rain your fire down on us." Right? We had a lot of people that want to be spectators and want to watch the fire and be part of the fire, want to follow the revivals. They want to be part of the exciting moments. Those are those that are so cold within themselves that they just want to be around others that are on fire for God to make themselves feel like they're doing something successful or doing something right. Hebrews 12 and 29 says, "For our God is a consuming fire." Say fire. We got to be bold enough to ask God to send his fire down. Later on, there was an older man that went to the Yosemite Forest, and he stopped one of the park rangers and said, Hey, I remember back when I was little, we would do the fire fall. And the park ranger said, "I'm sorry, sir. Unfortunately, we no longer let the fire fall here anymore." Which is true. They no longer do it with the burning trees anymore. How many can say, "Sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. I no longer let the fire fall in my life anymore"? It happens. It happens when we come in here and we come into the house of God and we try to pump ourselves up, but yet the Spirit starts and we're just sitting on a log, as you said earlier. Just sitting there. Nothing can move us. Nothing can change our mind. Don't you think it's about time we get the fire falling? Don't you think it's about time that we revamp ourselves and check ourselves from the inside out and say, "God, I'm done with being cold or lukewarm. I want your fire to fall on me." It says here in Revelations 3:15 through 16, "I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth." How many of you all want to make God proud? As Brother D said this morning, as Pastor said, how many of you want to make him happy with this, to where he begins to dance and rejoice? I challenge you today. I challenge you as we get ready to here. Worship like you've never worshiped before. Challenge yourself not to just sit there. Challenge yourself to not care what anyone thinks. I say this a lot when I'm up here, because trust me, I know how it is. I knew how it was when I was just a little boy, And I know how it is when I was young. And rather you think I'm old or not, rather I feel old or not, I know how it is today. You can get so lost in everything else around you that you forget about that connection. And before you know it, you're so cold. I challenge you, look inside of yourself tonight. While we're here, while you have the opportunity presented to you now, ask God to send his fire down on you. And let's let the fire fall. Amen?
Amen.
Good job. Thank you.